Welcome to Begin, Build, Blossom, your business journey with Clarita, the podcast where we will discuss valuable insights, resources, and motivation to fuel your entrepreneurial spirit. Let's build a supportive community together. Subscribe now to Begin, Build, Blossom, and let's embark on your business journey. Welcome to another episode of our podcast, Begin, Build, Blossom. And today we have with us Bieunkah. Going to go ahead and introduce her, and then we will get into the episode. So, Bieunkah Anwojue is an award-winning author, illustrator, speaker, and entrepreneur. She creates paper goods and books that uplift and encourage adults and children and teach others how to successfully publish their books. Bieunkah and I also go a long way. We went to Grambling State University together. So I am very, very happy to have her with us today. Welcome, Bieunkah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be here.
So, Bieunkah and I were actually part of the National Association of Black Accountants on campus, and we got to spend time together at conferences and on campus. And seeing you today makes me really miss our days on the college campus. We had some amazing times, didn't we? All right. So today we're here to talk about your business. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with a section we call the rapid fire. So I'm going to go ahead and ask you some questions, and we will try to get some quick answers, and then we will move into the rest of the episode. So the first question is, actually, I'm looking for 2 words from you. One that described you as a child and one that describes you now as an adult.
As a child, I would say shy. And as an adult, I would say determined.
Nice. Shy, determined. Thank you. And what is the name of your business?
So my business is under my name as the artist. I just go under Bieunkah.
Great. How long have you been in business?
Full-time, 5 years now.
Okay. So you are full-time. And how long were you part-time before you became full-time?
About a year or so. Actually 2 years, because I started in 2017 while I was still in corporate.
Nice. And that leads us to our next question. What were you doing before you started your business?
I was a senior program analyst for a large company in Northwest Arkansas. I won't say the name, but but I did that for 7 years, and I loved it. I went to school, for accounting as well as information systems, and I loved it. I loved the tech world. It was something new every day, but it was time to branch off into something else.
Tell us one book you would recommend.
One book that I would recommend, my memoir when it comes out. So be on the lookout for that at some point. But one book that I have double back on this year is Uncloned by Audrea Richmond. Audrea, I don't know if you know who she is, but she's real good with marketing. And so she just thinks completely differently. She makes you think differently about yourself as well as your business. And so Uncloned Marketing by Audrea Richmond would be my book recommendation.
Okay, good. And from speaking with other entrepreneurs, marketing is actually something a lot of people have trouble with. And I am one of those people. So I will definitely be reading that book to get some more insights. Thank you so much. And now we will move on to the begin section. And I just wanted to find out, when was the first time you thought about starting your business?
So when I was in corporate, I had several people, that would always tell me, hey, you should do this, because a lot of people were familiar with my artwork. I have some of my artwork, some of the paintings that I've done, they're hanging up in our home, in my office. And so people have always said, hey, you could probably have a career in that. And it was also something that my husband, told me that he believed that I could do as well. And so, those little nuggets over the years started, to get into my mind. But at the point to where I started struggling with mental health, that was really the turning point for me.
And how did the art help you with that?
It was therapeutic, to take a blank canvas or And a canvas can be anything. That's what people, they don't always understand. You can take a sticky note on your desk and turn it into something amazing. And so that was very therapeutic for me, just to take something, a blank canvas, and turn it into something beautiful, something that makes myself or other people smile.
And that helps you, and I think it has helped a lot of other people as well, because I've been following your stories, and I know that you get a lot of people who tell you how much your work has helped them.
Yes, definitely. I even think about in corporate, we had whiteboards everywhere. And so I would take, a dry erase marker and draw on the whiteboard. And, it brought joy to so many people. Even if it was just a pumpkin with a little note, that brought joy to so many people.
Well, you mentioned that, and that brings me to I used to work for a law firm where I would have to draw on the board. Sometimes it had to be numbers, like how much we made for the month. But
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you had to add a little doodle based on the season. And I remember one time it was Thanksgiving, and I drew the most horrible turkey. I laughed at it myself. So I'm sure it would have been nice to have someone like you to be able to do those drawings. But yeah, thanks for bringing that memory, bringing back that memory. But it's good to know that your work actually lights and brightens somebody's day. So I'm sure people are very much appreciative of that. And you grew up in Grambling. I remember when I met you in Grambling, I kept thinking, oh wow, it's not often that I meet somebody who actually grew up in Grambling, because
Yes. Born and raised in Grambling, Louisiana. There's no other place like it. But I love that it was small enough to where, and my whole family was there too, and we
mhm.
all lived on the same street, and so that's definitely something and memories that I cherish.
Yeah, I'm sure. And what can you tell us a little bit about your upbringing that led you to where you are today?
Well, I came from humble beginnings. We never really had much, but in the hindsight, I feel like we had everything that we needed, if that makes sense. From a financial standpoint, we didn't have a whole lot of money or anything, but those times where on Sundays we all got together at my grandmother's sister's house and she
Hmm.
made dinner for everybody. So those memories, I feel like, have helped to build who I am today.
Hmm.
I'm very family oriented. I always try to treat people the right way, try to help others. And that's something that I saw my family do, growing up.
Great. And I read also that you did a lot of drawing as a child, and
Yes.
you actually still have one of those on your desk because your mom kept all of them.
I have several of them, but it's a giraffe that I did when I was in high school, and she's still in my office like today.
Oh wow. How did that feel, like your mom actually keeping that? Even because I'm thinking you went into corporate, like you may have gone away from art a little bit, is what I'm thinking. And to actually have that when you decided to go back to that passion of yours, what was that like, knowing that your mom kept it, meaning that she actually cherished it? So how did that make you feel?
It means everything to me, and it's also something that I do with my children. I keep, like, even now, I have my daughters. They're just doodles,
Right.
literally colorful scribbles. But and I literally just made a post about this morning. I hang them up because although to some people they may just look like just nothing, but that's something that they created. And so I hang it up in my office, number one, to show them that I love what they do,
Hmm.
that I cherish what they do, but it's also a reminder to me to, this is who I'm doing this for.
Right.
So when I look at their little scribble scrabbles, on my wall, it's a reminder for me to, keep going.
Great. And going back to the business, how did you start the business? What were the steps that you actually took towards doing that?
So initially I started with just posting on Instagram, right? Instagram, Facebook, and I would just post the artwork. And from there, people started saying, hey, this got me through my day. So from there, I was like, okay, how can I monetize this? How can I, take what I'm doing and, actually start bringing in money from it?
Right.
So from there, I started creating the greeting cards. But as far as like legal steps, I did get an LLC, and I did that through LegalZoom.
Okay.
So I got the LLC and then got my EIN, and that's free. A lot of people don't even know that's free. People go pay for it, but that's free. You don't have to pay people to do that for you. And after that, it was just kind of smooth sailing. But since then, we have started other businesses and we, did that process on our own.
And what made you actually take that bold step to venture out on your own? I know you mentioned you worked in corporate. It's not always
Mhm.
easy to leave a corporate job and to go on to do your own thing.
That was one of the hardest things I think that I have ever had to do. One being because that's what I went to school for.
Hmm.
I spent all those years. I got my BA, went on and got my master's, and I told him I felt like I spent all these years doing something just to go back to drawing. From a I guess professional standpoint, it sounds crazy. It sounds completely crazy, but at the same time, my mental health was declining. I just got to a point to where I could no longer, focus. I could no longer, do the work that I needed to do, and I felt like I was becoming bigger than just sitting in a cubicle. I felt like I had more to offer than just sitting in a cubicle every day. And so from that point, I ventured off. It was scary, absolutely, but I have no regrets.
Nice. Thank you. So we are going to move on to the build segment right now. And I just wanted to know, we just talked, I'm going to ask, what is the biggest leap you've had to make since starting your business? So I know we talked about the biggest leap you made to start, but since starting, what would you say is the next biggest leap you've had to make?
I would say where I am currently, starting completely over. I am going through a rebrand. And so it's not completely starting from scratch, but so that I can scale the business, I want to rebrand and take my name out of everything. That was hard for me initially because, I was saying, well, this is my work, I want my name on it. But for me to be able to grow and one day hire other people to come on, I want to completely rebrand all of that and get my name out of it so that I can continue to scale the business.
So if there is someone looking to start now in terms of naming the business, because for me, choosing a name was very difficult, but listening to you, I could see how that is very important from the beginning. So would you like to maybe elaborate more on that for somebody starting off?
Well, and I think it depends on what you're doing because some people's name, works really well. Like if you're in a creative business, I think about like Martha Stewart. I think about like Kate Spade. So there's some people who I feel like if your name is a name that, you would want to, see it in that way, you can use your name, but sometimes people just literally choose random things. And so I really feel like it depends on what you and what you want, how you want to see your brand out there. And there's two different things too, because although I'm rebranding from the paper goods space, I'm also still building my personal brand. So my name will still be there.
And in terms of actually, do you have a team right now, or you're looking to build a team, or even right now, what does team mean to you where you're at right now in your business?
Right now, the team is me. It's my children coming in here to help me pack orders. It's my husband, dropping things off at the post office. So it's my mom coming, to help me print and cut. And so right now, that's my team. However, at some point, I would like to be able to hire other artists, to come on and maybe create designs for paper goods. And so that's something that I'm looking to do in the future.
When you say bring on other artists, I'm thinking collaboration just came to mind.
Mhm.
So do you do a lot of that? Is that something if you don't yet, is that something you're looking to do more of?
Absolutely. So I try to collaborate with people all the time, even if it's just giveaways. Other local businesses in Northwest Arkansas, we always try to collaborate to do, like giveaways to try to build our social media presence. So, but as far as the business, yes, I would love to collaborate in the future with other artists, so that I can get their work out there as well.
Great. And I noticed that you're very present on social media and also in articles. And I love how your name is out there. I could read up on your work. To me, you're one of the most famous people I know, right? Like in terms of like somebody I know personally who's always in the news and all of that. So how do you achieve something like that?
I would say just being consistent. That's one thing that I think I struggled with in the beginning, but just continuously showing up for yourself. I think a lot of people, when you think about social media, they worry about the likes, they worry about the comments. And even if you go and look at my, if you look at my posts now, I don't feel like I get that many likes or anything. However, I know people are seeing those posts. I can see how many people have viewed my videos. And so whether they like and comment or not, people see it. And, people will talk. I had a lady one day, she reached out to me and she just sent me a text and she was like, hey, I see everything that you're doing. I'm rooting for you, in the background. And I'm like, why are you in the background? Like, go comment on my post. But, you have people like that. And so I would say just continue to show up for yourself, whether you are getting likes or not, because people do see you.
And you've been sharing some very valuable tips on grant writing, even things you wish you had done differently when you started. And I share those with my friends. So that's one of the things too. You don't see that that's been done, but a lot of my friends find that to be very valuable.
Thank you.
So yeah, people see what you're doing, and I personally appreciate your work. I mean, I have bought cards from you in the past, and I just like how it really represents what I wanted to, and your packaging and everything. It's been such a great experience, being one of your clients.
That was something that was really important to me to show, black and brown, not just women, but our babies too,
Hmm.
so that we can see ourselves represented beautifully. That's really important to me.
Right, and it's so personal. How do you keep such a personal touch? I don't know. It's such a personal touch when you receive one of your cards. So
Oh. As far as the messaging, even with the visuals, I think about, what I wanted to see when I was growing up. Even in Grambling, there is a heavily African American population.
mhm.
I did not see greeting cards with myself on it. With characters that look like me. I did not see bookmarks with characters that look like me. I did not see coloring books with little girls who look like me. And so when I'm creating, those are the things that I think about. What do our babies need to see? What do other Black women need to see? And that's how I create.
Great. How did you go about actually getting? So for you, I'm thinking getting clients is a little different because you have clients in the sense of one-on-one, but you also have businesses that you do business with, right?
Yes, and so I offer my products wholesale.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's completely, I would say this, if for anyone who is going into, trying to leverage your artwork, or if you have a creative business, finding multiple ways to use your artwork to make other money is going to be essential, right? People have the starving artist. I don't want to be a starving artist. I love what I do and I need to be able to make money from it. So, but finding other avenues to make money. And so, and aside from me selling on my website, I also offer my products wholesale. So businesses will buy my products, my books, my greeting cards, bookmarks, whatever it is, so that they can go and sell in their business. And in turn, they are offering, more diverse products in their store.
And how do you go about building those relationships to actually be selling to other businesses?
A lot of times they find me. Actually, they reach out. Now, I do pitch. I pitch to companies. But for the biggest ones that I've had, they have found me via social media or via, like the news. If I'm on the news, they saw the news and like, hey, I saw this card. We want it in our store. And I've gotten them that way. But pitching is a really big deal too. And pitching can be, you sending an email to a company, telling them, who you are, what you do, why you do it, and why it's important for your products to be inside their store. What do you have to offer, them
Mhm.
as far as your products are concerned?
Thanks for sharing that. And I know you mentioned about the struggling artists, which that's what we hear a lot about.
Yeah.
So I'm even I know you building and all of that. But what has been some of the struggles getting to the point where you're at?
I will say, especially in the beginning, and coming from that corporate world, having to really cut back.
Mm-hmm.
because I went from, and this is something that I always share with people, but I literally went from being able to go in the store and literally just, getting whatever I want to me picking between a pack of chicken because one was 10 cents more. And so it made me rethink things financially. How I looked at money became different because when you're in corporate, you can take a sick day and you're still being paid for that day,
Mm-hmm.
right? You're still going to get your check in 2 weeks, but when you are working for yourself and when you're an entrepreneur, if you don't get up and work, you're not making money, right? So it's really changed the way that I view money, the way that I work, and so that's kind of part of the rebrand because now I'm getting to a point to where I don't want to have to physically be in multiple locations to get money from multiple locations.
How are you getting help with that? Like, do you have a mentor?
A lot of it has just been from me making mistakes over the years. But I have a publishing mentor. Her name is Crystal Swain Bates. But I am in a paid group under her where she basically, coaches us through the publishing process.
I like that because sometimes we have those ideas, right? We know where we want to get to, but we don't know how. So having someone who actually can work with us, and it sounds like you work with other persons as well within that private group. So you guys get to share ideas and work together.
Absolutely. So a lot of and I will say this because I think oftentimes I've had people that will ask, like, well, why do I have to pay you if this is free on Google? While this is free on Google, like Google is not going to show you, the step-by-step process that I've had to go through, all the lessons that I've had to learn. And so, that collaboration in groups you get with like-minded people.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in a couple of paid groups, but I think when you are in those type of groups, it really puts you in an environment with people who want to see you grow because they're trying to grow.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that getting yourself surrounded by like-minded people that are trying to make a difference, make a change, people that want to see you win just as much as they're winning, that really makes a difference.
And how did you meet those people? How did you even find out about those groups?
Facebook. I'm always on social media, scrolling. If I see an opportunity, I always try to share with other people. And so, in that sense, when people see opportunities, they share it with me also.
Can you tell us one time where you felt like almost giving up?
Oh, absolutely. I feel like this journey, it's a roller coaster. And so I have felt like that a lot, from the time that I stepped out on faith and took that leap. But I will say probably the most prominent one was where I had a month to where like I was making four figures a day, right? Like consistent, four figures a day. And then a couple months after that, I didn't even make a penny, like not one. And so, having those kind of moments, like people don't understand, you're going to have moments like those downhill moments. You're going to have them in entrepreneurship, but you have to remember why you started, right? You have to remember your purpose, why you started, and then, just keep moving forward.
And what motivates you?
My children and, wanting to see my work in the hands of the babies. So I have a few opportunities coming up. One is next week, actually, where I get to go and speak to a whole school of elementary kids. And so I get to go and spend the whole day with them. And I remember times when I was a kid and when someone would come into the school to speak, those interactions can really change someone's life. And so if I can go to these schools and be a light for these babies, give them some encouragement, show them, hey, you can do this too. If I can do it, you can do it. And especially by me being a Black woman, I've had a high school student. She said, I've never seen a coloring book with a Black woman on it. It was one like this. And she was like, I didn't even know that we can do this. And so to have those moments, that's my reason. That's my why. That gets me up in the morning.
And how do you actually balance? Because you doing the work, the actual work, you're going out there, you're doing interviews, and you're also a mom, wife. How do you balance all of that?
I don't. Listen, and today is a prime example because you know what happened this morning. It's literally just me, all jokes aside. I would say writing down for me, writing down my week so I'll show you an example actually. So I have planners, but I also have like a weekly planner like this where I see every day of the week, and I start on Sunday and I write down every single thing that I know that I have to do for each day. So on Monday, I'll write down, okay, I have a meeting at this time. I got to pick the kids up at this time. And so seeing the things that I know that I have to do, they allow me to pivot when I need to. Because things like this morning, life happens. I had to go pick my son up. Things like that happen. But when you have planned yourself, it allows you to be able to pivot. So I will say planning, seeing your week, your months, your year at a glance really helps.
And we are going to move on to the blossoming stage. But before that, I wanted to talk a little bit about the other work that you do. For instance, we're going to be working together on my logo. I am very thrilled about that. I know that there are some other projects I plan to work on with you. So maybe if you can give us an idea of, all the services and products.
So aside from the paper goods, so the greeting cards, the bookmarks, the notepads, I also illustrate and design books, coloring books, journals. You see several of them behind me. I have picture books coming out this year. I do the wholesale. I'm also venturing into art licensing. And so that will allow people to be able to license my artwork for their products. And so that's one way that I'm hoping to get into big box retailers. Other than that, I design for other people. So I illustrate and design books for other people. I do the one-on-one coaching, just to help others, who may have quick questions. They're trying to get over a hurdle for something in business. I do offer calls and coaching for that. In addition, we have a nonprofit. The nonprofit is called Anwojue Hope Foundation. It is based in Nigeria, and last year we got registered to have a branch here in the U.S. as well. But every month we provide resources and education to children, mainly young women, to teach them about menstruation and health. And we provide sanitary pads to at least 200 girls a month. So
that's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That you're making quite an impact. Is that something that means a lot to you? Making that kind of impact?
Absolutely. That was something that was initially, well, it was my husband's idea. And so it has been a pleasure to be able to support him throughout that journey. But again, just, the next generation, that people always say the children are our future. And I feel like it's important to breathe life into them, to encourage them, to uplift them, to empower them, because these are the people who is going to be running the world in the future. So
great. Nice. We are going to move on to the blossom segment. And I just want to know what success means to you.
At the moment, that has changed over the years. Okay. When I was a little girl, I thought success was having a house, picket fence. And, when I was in college, I thought success was getting a corporate job. When I was in corporate, success meant how much money I was making. But now success to me means having that time freedom, having that financial freedom to be able to do something that I love, to make a difference, but also be able to show up for my children as well.
We have covered quite a lot, so we've actually come to the end of the interview. But before we do that, I have some questions in the segment we call the closeout segment. I would like you to provide 2 or 3 actionable tips based on your experience for someone who's listening to you right now who wants to get into business. What are those things you tell them?
If you are just starting out and you're looking to get into business, I would say do your research. I think many times when people say, I'm going to start a business, they think it's just something cute, like, oh, I'm going to, get me a logo and put it on Facebook and I'm starting a business, right? But people don't take the time to understand, their market research, to understand who they're actually selling to, who are you creating it for? And I think that was one big thing for me as well. When I was starting off, I just created it, and I actually told myself, I was like, I'm going to sell 1 million of these cards. And I have not sold a million yet. However, at the time, I didn't even know what a target audience was when I first started, right? And so it's those little lessons like that. But understanding, who you are, what you do, and who you are doing it for, I think will really make a difference in their journey. One other thing is understand that you're going to have days, where you feel like giving up. Like you're going to have them. But again, understanding your why you started, and what you want to accomplish, where you see yourself in the next 5 years, thinking about those things really will really help you continue to go forward.
And what were some of the ways you went about doing that research or even coming up with that niche or target market? Because a lot of the times we feel like if we narrow it down, we might be losing out. So, how do you decide on that?
There's money in the niches, okay? That's something that you will hear people say all the time. There's money in the niches, because if you're selling to everybody, you're not selling to anybody, okay? When people look at this coloring book, it's for Black women, okay? That's my target audience, is Black women. When you can narrow it down like that, you know who you're selling to. So I know that when I go to certain markets, I'm not going to have many people that may not buy this book, because they're not going to be my target audience, but they may buy a ton of my greeting cards. They may buy a ton of my bookmarks. They may buy a ton of my notepads. But because there's a Black woman on this front, on the front cover, depending on the markets that I go to, they may not be interested. I'll give you another example. A restaurant reached out and they wanted to put my gratitude journal in their restaurant in the store. And me being me, I brought all my stuff. I'm like, here's my gratitude journal, but I also do this. And I saw the look on her face and she was like, I don't know about that, but we'll take the journal. And they took the journal and I'm fine with that. But I know going into, certain spaces, certain areas, they're not going to be interested in this stuff. But this is what I need my people. This is what I need for my children, for our culture. So it's important. So again, if you can't create something and say, oh, well, it's for everybody, right? Because at that point, you're not selling to anybody.
And when you say understanding who you are, how did you go about doing that?
For me, it has just come from failing. It's come from failing and starting over. It has come from me asking myself, why did you start this? It has come from me asking myself, where do you want to see yourself in the next 5 years? Who are you doing this for? Why are you doing this? What impact do you want to leave behind?
And when you say failing, would you say you wish you hadn't failed as much as you think you did? Or do you think that actually was important in you being where you are?
I feel like if you're not failing, you're not trying. When you are learning something new, when you're trying to break generational curses, that's one thing. That's been one big thing for me. Again, I talked about coming from humble beginnings. My family didn't have a lot. I was one of the first ones to go and graduate from college. And I mean, the college is right there in Grambling, right? When I talk about those things, I'm trying to break generational curses, and you're not going to do that from not failing. If you are not filling your goals, you're not setting your goals high enough, because you are going to be put in uncomfortable situations. You're going to be faced with things that you've never had to do. You're going to be put in rooms that you've never been in. You're going to be sitting in front of people that you've never had to sit in front of. And so when you are put in those situations, you may feel nervous or scared or be afraid, but I have a motto: I get comfortable being uncomfortable. Okay. When you get uncomfortable and when you put yourself in a position to do things that you may be afraid to do, those things are going to be what turns your career around.
I'm actually internalizing what you just said because for me, I think I've been told that before too, that I try to get things just right. I'm so afraid of failing, and I'm learning that failure is not a failure. You do learn a lot. Even with this podcast, it took me a long time. I mean, putting yourself out there, or I'm like worried about not doing it right. But at the end of the day, I'm happy doing this. So I failed a lot, even like this morning, like getting ready to be with you. Like some things went wrong. And I take that very hard sometimes because I'm like, I'm always trying to be the best that I can be. But then you realize, sometimes those things happen and we have to give ourselves grace, I guess. So Thanks for saying that.
You also have to remember you only fail if you quit.
Mm.
Okay, that is the only time you will fail is if you completely stop. If you say, has you said, okay, well, this is not working, this equipment is not working today, and we completely shut everything down at that point, it's a failure, but you kept going. We got on the call and we figured it out. And so, that's one thing that I even try to, always instill in my children. As long as you get up and you keep going, you're going to get knocked down. There's no going around it, but you have to get back up and you have to keep going.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. Part of the podcast is actually building a community of support. So we're hoping to connect persons like yourself, guests on the show, with others who are listening and who would benefit a lot from having a conversation with you. So we'd like to find out if you would be willing to offer 30 minutes of your time to speak with someone one-on-one. Is that something you're willing to
I
do?
would love to. Absolutely. I would love to.
All right. So I guess the way this would work is you would give us your contact information, and you decide whether it's the first one or two people that reach out to you and let you know that they heard about you through our podcast. Then you would work with them to schedule a call with you.
Okay, so you can find me on all social media platforms at Bieunkah. That is Bieunkah. My website is www.bieunkah.com. So the first person or the first two people who listen to this podcast and who reach out to me, whether it be DM on Facebook, Instagram, or even just send me an email, I will schedule a free call with you for 30 minutes.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. And thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today.
You are welcome. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to see how this podcast grows, and I know that you're going to do amazing because you're going to keep on going.
Thank you. And I look forward to having you on again with the rebranding, and I know you will keep adding experiences, and I would love to hear about them.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Begin, Build, Blossom, Your Business Journey, a CME Accounting LLC podcast. Please subscribe and be on the lookout for our next episode. If you'd like to share any feedback with us, please email us at podcast@cmeaccountingllc.com.